Hi and welcome to our gym. Today we're going to have a look at some exercises you can do to complement the free weights exercises you normally take part in when you're training for your strength and conditioning for running or athletics in general. These exercises focus on some of the muscles that we use when we run but aren't as well serviced in the gym normally. Free weights, much more than fixed weight machines, do a great job for athletes as they require control in all planes of movement, and many are much better for power development. However, there are limitations on what can be done, with some muscle groups, or more importantly movement patterns, simply not being hit with traditional exercises like squats and cleans. The key areas where we need to look to develop more functional strength than we generally get on standard programs are in the hip flexor and calf muscle complexes, both of which have a vital function in the running action. It is true that some extra work might be desirable for hamstrings, adductors, abductors and glutes as well, but we'll return to these in future videos. As with most areas of strength work, we not only need to look at the muscles we wish to train, but also the work we do through a running stride, and then pick exercises that replicate this type of movement. The calf is a good example of this. The primary function of the calf in running is to give us stability and control on landing. It is used to a lesser extent in takeoff, and there is a tendency for those overstriding athletes to use it too much at this point. During landing, it is used eccentrically and plyometrically, so we should be looking to develop these aspects of the development in the gym too. If you've ever wondered about the different ways in which we can contract our muscles, here's a quick explanation to help you. First of all, there are isometric contractions, which is where the muscle is static and constant force is applied without any movement. Then we move on to concentric contractions. This is where the muscle is shortening as it contracts and is the most commonly seen in the gym, for example with an arm curl. Next we look at eccentric contractions. This is where the muscle is lengthening under load, such as when we're lowering something to the floor. And finally, we look at plyometric contractions. This is where there is a quick eccentric contraction, which is immediately followed by a concentric contraction. Essentially, we are loading up the tendons as a spring and allowing ourselves to rebound off whatever surface we're working off. This doesn't mean we can't use isometric or concentric strengthening, as all elements of work will help to strengthen the muscle. But if we can be more specific about this, why wouldn't we be? Two exercises we would recommend for this would be eccentric lowerings on a single leg with a weight. This can be a rucksack, bar, dumbbell, weighted vest, etc. In this example, the athlete is using 15 kilograms in a backpack. You just need to be able to balance as you do it. Here the athlete is using a step, but this could equally be done on the floor. In some cases the floor may be desirable if the athlete has particularly good range of movement in the calf, as we don't want to extend this too much further. The edge of the step will be very good for most athletes as it gives good range of movement, particularly if you're tight in the calf area. Lower on one leg and then come back up to the top with the assistance of the other leg. Generally we're looking at about 5 to 10 seconds to go from the top to the bottom. This takes care of the eccentric element of the action. We can complement this with tiggers, which are two-footed alternate high and low jumps. However, regular calf jumps on 1 foot or 2 will do just as well. If you do single leg jumps, here you need to ensure you're strong enough for this to be a very swift rebound action. If it isn't, we'd recommend going for a 2-footed jump. These exercises work on the plyometric element of the calf function. In terms of hip flexors, the best exercise we know is with a super strong piece of elastic, anchored at foot level and attached to the ankle. The function of the hip flexors are much more reliant on the strong concentric action they have, so we try to replicate this in the following way, with a strong drive through from a similar position to when the foot takes off from the floor to when the knee is at its highest point. By adding these exercises to your strength and conditioning program, you're going to more accurately replicate the types of stresses that you're going to incur as you run, and as such run faster and reduce the risk of developing injuries in these areas.